Hi, welcome to Valley Prep Tutoring. So this is going to be a lesson on how to use the average pie, which is not to be confused with the popular movie American Pie. On the SAT, you're going to have a lot of advanced arithmetic problems that might have to do with averages. Anytime you get one of those average problems, just use this graphic organizer called the average pie, and you'll be good to go. To do so is really simple. We draw a circle, a line across the middle, and a line down the center. Now, what we're going to put up here is the sum of all the values we get. Here, we're going to put the average. And in this box, we're going to put the number of things. Here's an easy way to remember what goes in each part of the circle and what order. If you look at sum in the top, average, things stands for the one thing that's going to be on your mind probably these months and certainly on the day of the test. S-A-T. So sum, average, number of things. Here's a really easy way to figure out how it works. Let's say, for instance, you get a problem that says 3 people went out to dinner and spent $48 in total, in sum. Well, we're going to put number of people as the number of things. That's 3. The sum of how much they spent in total is 48. How to use the average pie is anytime you want to solve for something, you want to imagine this is like a division line. So if you want to find the average, you just do the sum divided by the number of things. Similarly, we could cover this up if we want to find the number of things, sum divided by the average, or we could do average times sum of the number of things to get the sum. So here, we're trying to find the average, so we do sum divided by number of things, 48 divided by 3, and we get 16. And we'll see that it works, because if we were to cover up the 3, 48 divided by 16 is 3, and if we were to cover up the 48, 16 times 3 is 48. That's the basics of the average pie. Now you probably knew how to calculate this on your own, but now we're going to jump to a more difficult problem and show how this graphic organizer really helps us solve some of the trickier average problems. Alright, so now let's apply the average pie technique to a word problem to see how easy it becomes. So it says Sydney's average score on the first 5 math tests of the year was 82. If she ended with an average of 88 after 8 tests total, what was her average on the last 3 math tests? Now, usually this might seem kind of daunting, but all we have to really do is break it down into 3 separate average problems. So the first one talks about the first 5 math tests. So we're going to draw our average pie. Remember, SAT goes sum, average, number of things. So average score on the first 5 math tests of the year was 82. Okay, 5 math tests down here. That's the number of things. The average is 82. And remember, to get the number up here, we multiply. If we were just going for one of them, we would divide. But since we're going with one up here, we multiply. And we realize that the total number of points that Sydney scored on the 5 tests was 410. Now, if she ended the year with an average of 88 after 8 tests total, so let's just stop and take care of that one. So we have here another average pie. We have, she ended the year with an average of 88. So we have here 88. And here there is 8 tests. Now we're going to be able to figure out, again, multiplying what she ended the year with of the total amount of scores. And we group these together to save some time. I'll just give you the answer. It's 704. Now, what was the average on the last 3 math tests? Now, here's where it gets really cool. What you can do with average pies is you can always add or subtract as necessary in the problem, either the sum or the number of things. And here, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to subtract the sum. And here's the reason why. Because on this last average pie, we're trying to figure out what was her average on the last 3 math tests. Well, we already know that it's asking for 3. And we already have this filled in. That's because she started off the year taking 5 tests, then she took 3 more and she ended with 8. So we're just trying to figure out how did she get from an 82 average to an 88 average. Well, to do that, we simply just subtract 704 minus 410. If at the end of the year she had a total number of points that she earned of 704, and 5 tests in, there was just 410 points that she had earned, Then we subtract those, should we realize that in the last 3 tests, she must have earned 294 points. 294 plus 410, we get to 704. Now, we just do what we always do with average pies, we divide. We're trying to figure out this value, we do 294 divided by 3, and we get 98. Meaning in the last 3 math tests, she must have gotten a 98 to bring up her total average to 88. We'll do one more example of a slightly more complicated nature. Alright, so now let's take the same topic that we just went over of average pies and apply it to a slightly more difficult problem. So here we have, over a year, Brendan sold an average of 12 umbrellas per day on rainy days and an average of 3 umbrellas per day on clear days. If the weather was rainy 1 day in 5, that's a rough year, what was Brendan's average daily umbrella sales? So let's create our different average pies. The first one we can make for rainy days. Just notate that with R. And we have here sold an average of 12 umbrellas per day on rainy days. Okay, so we're going to go to our average place. We're going to put 12. We also know for our clear days, this average pie, that sold 3 umbrellas per day. Now, it seems like we don't have enough information, but we just have to be a little bit clever and realize that we do. What we're missing is the number of days that were rainy and the number of days that were clear. But it says if the weather was rainy 1 day in 5, meaning 1/5 of the time out of the 365 days, it was raining. So all we need to do is just simple division. So to find the number of times that were raining, we simply just do 365 divided by 5. And that would mean that 1/5 of the year, 1/5 of the time, it was raining. We do that, we find out that that's 73, meaning 1/5 of the time, for 73 days, is raining. And if we just subtract then 365 minus 73, we get 292. Which means that 292 days of the year, it is clear. Now, really easy to use the average pies. We just simply multiply these together to find out the total sum. So we multiply 12 times 73, and we get 876. And just coincidentally, you'll find out if you do this on paper with the calculator, 3 times 292 also results in 876. That means that of the days that were rainy, there was a total of 876 umbrellas sold, and of the clear days, there was 876 umbrellas sold. We're going to add those together because we want to find out the number of umbrellas sold over the entire year together. And 876 plus 876 equals 1,752. 1,752 we know goes over 365 days total, that's the year. And then we just do what we have been practicing before. You simply divide, pretend there's like a division sign. Then 1,752 divided by 365 is 4.8, which means that over the entire year, there was on average 4.8 umbrellas sold. That's how you use the average pie. It is a really easy way and a wonderful tool to use anytime you have an average problem to get straight to the answer and to not feel lost. And it's an easy way just to jump in and start putting down information. Thanks.